That's a lie. They keep saying women don't support women. Women are their worst enemy. That's not true. That is not true.
Okay.
And again, we keep saying not because we just want women. We want women who are character and competent. We want women who have what it takes to rule. We're not saying just bring a woman for us because we want to clap. We want to say, yes, she's the agenda. No, we want women who have competence, who have built over the years character and what they need to lead, as women. And that's why my call is always to women. You need to build your capacity. Because most times, most women who have found themselves into political position are not prepared for the role. They are not prepared for the situation. So when they find themselves in a leadership position that they have not prepared for, many times they misbehave. And they now say, oh, you see, the one woman that we have put there as misbehave, or what of the hundreds of men that have been misbehaving? What of the hundreds of men that have been embezzling money? What of the hundreds of men?
Well, this is Citizens Hour, a special edition to commemorate International Women's Day 2025. This is coming to you from West Africa Democracy Radio, 94.9 FM in Dakar and online on YouTube, WADR News, Facebook, West Africa Democracy Radio, English service. Now, this day serves as a reminder to recognize and cherish women's agency and autonomy, to make society safer and to eradicate prejudice and discrimination, particularly against women. Now, people are busy getting ready to celebrate the day, but most of them are not aware of the significance of March 8th as International Women's Day. So this year's theme calls for action that can unlock equal rights, power, and opportunities for all, and a feminist future where no one is left behind. Central to this vision is empowering the next generation youth, particularly young women and adolescent girls, as catalysts for lasting change. Our discussions will be based on these factors, and my guests are from 3 countries: Nigeria, the Gambia, and Liberia. And incidentally, most of the issues affecting women in these countries can be said to be the same, ranging from leadership issues, economic issues, political issues, health issues, social issues, and of course, sexual and reproductive health issues. All of this we are going to touch on in the course of our conversation this day. So let me quickly bring on board my guests. I am Emediong, by the way, and the anchor for this edition of the program. So let me bring on board my guests. Well, we go straight to Liberia, where we have Vickjune Wutoh. She is a founder, Initiative for Youth Empowerment and Economic, IYEED Liberia. Now, she is a passionate gender equality and social inclusion expert with a strong background in advocacy, leadership, and youth empowerment. And as the founder of the Initiative for Youth Empowerment and Economic Development, IYEED, a young women-led NGO in Liberia, she has been at the forefront of promoting gender equality through community-driven programs, policy advocacy, and capacity building initiatives. Well, so Ms. Vickjune Wutoh, welcome to the program and thank you for joining us.
Yeah,
you've muted yourself, Miss. Yes.
Sorry. Hello, everyone. My name is Vickjune Wutoh. I'm so happy to be here with you today on this unique platform. I am happy to connect with other, amazing African youth across West Africa. So yes, let's do have a very great conversation. I look forward to it. I also look forward to learning and sharing my perspectives on the, current topic on our discussion today.
Indeed. Welcome again. Well, joining us from the Gambia is Fatima Jarju. Fatima Jarju is a renowned award-winning women's rights activist and an advocate against SGBV, very passionate and committed to positively impacting the rights of women and girls in the Gambia for the past 7 years. She works towards respecting, promoting, and ensuring that the rights and welfare of women and girls are fulfilled. She's also the Assistant Secretary for the United States Exchange Program Alumni Network in the Gambia as part of the Yali Cohort 13, one of UNFPA, the Gambia's facilitators, trainer on out-of-school comprehensive sexuality education, and a certified SGBV case manager. Fatima, thank you for joining us and welcome to the program.
Thank you very much, Imo. It's happy to be back here as usual. I'm really excited to talk about International Women's Day.
Indeed. All right. Welcome again. Well, joining us.
Discussion.
All right. Well, joining us from Nigeria is Bimbola Aladejare-Salako. She is the Executive Director, the New Generation Girls and Women Development Initiative, NIGAWD. Nigeria. Bimbola Aladejare-Salako is a prominent Nigerian activist and campaigner against female genital mutilation, FGM, and gender-based violence. She is the founder and executive director of the New Generation Girls and Women Development Initiative, an NGO dedicated to promoting the socioeconomic needs of girls, women, and youth in Africa. With over 16 years of experience in project planning, implementation, and evaluation, Bimbola has a strong background in community mobilization and facilitation. She has served as the Girl Generation and FGM Ambassador for Nigeria from 2016 to 2019 and has supported the training of End FGM organizations across several African countries. She's also a member of the National Technical Committee on FGM in Nigeria and the Civil Society Reference Group for the Global Spotlight Initiative in Africa. Bimbola's dedication and extensive experience make her a significant figure in the fight against FGM and GBV in Africa. Well, Bimbola, thank you so much for your time and welcome to the program.
Thank you. Thank you so very much for having me. I'm happy to join this program, and it's really a pleasure to meet women who are moving the continent forward and ensuring that our women are protected. So thank you very much for having me.
Indeed. Let me start by wishing all of you and every other women out there a happy International Women's Day. We salute the courage of all of you, our mothers, our sisters, our female colleagues, our daughters, and our friends. And we celebrate everyone and happy International Women's Day.
Thank you. And
Thank you.
Okay, so
let me feeling gender equality, on this platform. So yeah.
All right. So,
International Women's Day. Thank you.
all right. Let me start with Madam Bimbola in Nigeria. This year's theme for all women and girls: rights, equality, and empowerment. Well, let's take a look at the key words first. Rights. I mean, do women have rights at a time when their struggle seems very intensifying? What's the situation like in Nigeria, and what does this theme means for you, or means to you rather?
Thank you very much. Thanks for the question, and once again, thank you for having me. I would also like to say a shout out to every woman out there. It's our season, it's our font. Every woman out there needs to encourage themselves and know that they are the best of themselves. Yes, the question, the women have rights, and women have rights. Yes, women's rights are human rights. So every human being, have inherent rights that must be protected. First, the right to life, right to shelter, right to a name, right to education, right to self-dignity, right to respect, and all that. So everybody, as well as every man, has a right to have rights. And these rights are enshrined in our laws, in our policies that protect men and women. So yes, there are women's rights, and women's rights are also.
Indeed. Well, thank you for your response, Fatima. Let me come to you there in the Gambia. I mean, the some of the key points in this theme isn't new to you because this is basically what you do. Tell me about the situation in the Gambia and the fact that this year's theme calls for rights, equality, and empowerment.
Sorry, can you come back again? The first part of the question.
Yes. So what I'm saying is in the Gambia, what is the situation like? Looking at the fact that this year's theme calls for the equality, the rights of the women and all girls, and empowerment. What does this mean to you, knowing that these keywords are not new to you as about what you do there in the Gambia?
Thank you very much, Imo. This means a lot to me as a women's rights activist, as a feminist, we call it. So, to me, it means a lot. And for me, women should not only be celebrated on International Women's Day or during March, So we have a lot to do in terms of making sure women's rights are fulfilled, either politically, socially, economically, in all aspects. Because if you come to the context of my country, we're still lacking behind in a lot of aspects, right? And this is in all domains. So we look at, for example, we look at the issue of women's political participation. As an example, we still lag behind because as we speak, out of 21 members of cabinet, we only have 3 female in cabinet, which is very unfortunate. You come to our parliament, we only have 5 female in our parliament out of 52 parliamentarians. So, which really talks a lot about how we are lacking behind in terms of leadership and in terms of women political participation. So the past maybe 5 years, we have seen a lot of women come forward to take part in politics and also in leadership. But then also having the support from the electorates to have women voted in to represent them in these positions is still an issue. And this, as gender activists, this is something we have been working towards, and we try to work with these women for us to attain what we are yearning for. But then we also feel like we don't have the government in our side in terms of making sure we have women represented fully in the helm of affairs. So there is also a problem. You come to the aspect of sexual and reproductive health rights, we are still struggling with that. I am sure you guys here with me in this call are aware of what we have gone through the last year in terms of some of our NAMs trying to get our FGM law to be repealed. Thank God it was not repealed based on some of the efforts we put into it to make sure we have the law in place, and it is still in place. But we're still having challenges. Even though the law is in place, we're still having problems with making sure it is being implemented by the authorities responsible. When cases are brought to the police stations or officials that are responsible, the people still struggle to make sure their cases are being taken care of properly. It's either an official will tell you, I cannot deal with this case, and then you will have to be on your own. So which means there are still so many loopholes. We go to economy, also women are struggling. So to us, in all aspects, we're still trying to make sure we play our part as activists. And if government is not doing what we think should be done, we're still making sure we try to amplify their efforts in the work that they do. And if they're not doing well, then we do what we can do as activists, because there are certain things we can also do. When it comes to the implementation of policies, of course, this is not something we can do. That is beyond our limits. So we only do what we can do within our domain to make sure people realize that women have rights, girls have rights, and they also have the right to fully participate in the economic, political, and social and the development of every country. Yeah.
All right, well, let me head to Liberia. Vickjune, if you are there, now women in Liberia face many challenges, like I mentioned earlier, and these include violence, discrimination, and limited opportunities. And when we talk about discrimination, we're looking at gender-based violence, gender stereotype, cultural practices like prearranged marriages and male-headed households reinforce gender divisions of labor. And then education, women have limited access to education. How would you, what is your thought on these, looking at the call for this year's theme, which is calling for rights and equality and especially empowerment of women and girls?
Sorry, you were coming in a bit distorted, so I didn't get the question. I'm so sorry.
Okay, so I am saying that women in Liberia, can you hear me now?
Yes, better.
Yes, so I was saying women in Liberia face many challenges, including violence, discrimination, and limited opportunities. And part of them in discrimination includes gender-based violence, stereotypes, and education. In this case, women have limited access to education. So how will you merge these issues here in Liberia and the fact that the theme for International Women's Day 2025 is calling for all women and girls to have the rights, equality, and empowerment? Yeah, so my thought was equality. I mean, how can you define this gender equality and how is this concept conceived in Liberia, looking at the fact that women in Liberia face many challenges?
Okay, good. Gender equality actually talks about equal access to opportunities in terms of self-education and different rights that we as humans deserve. Is basically ensuring that the opportunities are not biased, they're fair enough. That's where the issue of equity comes in, because a lot of people tend to see equity different from equality. So equity is the rule of fairness. I say both men and women, even though they need access to equal opportunities and equal opportunities to education, health, and other incentives, basic human incentives, they are both built differently. But I think in Liberia and maybe other African countries can, attest to that. There have been policies that we met, systemic one, that kind of have a blind eye on what the prevailing realities are, that both men and women, though they both deserve equal opportunities, but they're made differently. How do you provide those opportunities are some of the challenges we have? Like I heard you talk about gender-based violence. Yes, in Liberia, due to some cultural norms and traditional beliefs, women literally are subjected to domestic and sexual and gender-based violence. There's a tradition in Liberia. Sometimes some people still practice it, that if your guy is angry with you, he beats you and you even apologize for that. I don't know whether that is practiced in other African countries, but I think it's deeply rooted in our culture and our tradition. You're not supposed to argue with your husband or the guy you're singing with. You're not supposed to talk back to a man, whether it's your brother or he's just a relative or somebody that, even if you're right to even have a conversation, you're not supposed to do that. So these are the different things that enable the issue of gender-based violence in Liberia. Some people still think they have traditional rights and religious rights and customary rights to, violate physically and abuse women. So I think it's more like we're fighting a system that is being favored by those who perpetrate these things. So it's a bit difficult to find solutions to them. However, advocates and feminists and human rights defenders in Liberia are all, at the front line right now. For the past 10 years, I've been engaged as a young person with civil society work, women's rights issues and programs and activities. I know that there have been progress, though they're very slow, but I'm sure with the level of commitment we have to fight these things, to ensure that women are treated equally as both men and equally as humans first before the gender. So I think we'll make progress in it. It's slow, but yeah, I think these are some of the things that we're trying to address in ensuring that there's equality across Africa and Nigeria specifically. It's not something that is really in sight now. Like I can project maybe in the next 10 to 15 years, no, because these issues that persist as challenges, they are very systemic. And the power dynamic also is playing in between because somebody who has the power to, effectuate a change, maybe amend a law or review and revise a gender blind policy, would think that they're giving away too many rights to the woman to be able to do that. So, and they know if they try to revise certain gender blind policies, they're going to be giving away their rights. Then the issue of power will not be played like it is played now. Sometimes some people use their offices to abuse other people. I remember I was, I actually got a scholarship to go to South Korea for school. So there's this guy who sat in the office at, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and I was trying to process my documents. And he tried using his office to delay my process. Obviously, maybe he worked at something more than that. But he made it like, oh, my document, he was just asking. I felt like he was using his office to manipulate me in a way. And eventually it went to that point where I had to ask him, why are you doing this? To do it on purpose. So if such a man has a reduced power, he won't be able to use that office, manipulation to get at somebody else because he thinks he should. And interestingly, because he was the only one in our office, so it was something that I really had to deal with. It was traumatic for me and very depressing. So these are some of the reasons we're asking that some of the challenges we face with the issue of policies and laws need to be addressed so that there can be equality for all, regardless of the gender, especially for women. So yeah, basically, I hope I've answered because I think that's how I came.
Yes, indeed. Thank you. I mean, it's mouthful, Vickjune. It's mouthful. Don't worry, I'll be throwing more questions at you in the course of our conversation. But let me go back to Bimbola in Nigeria. And finally, from this theme, I mean, we are looking at the rights, equality, and empowerment. So, to Bimbola in Nigeria now, empowerment, what is being done about that in Nigeria? Is it enough? Are we seeing men and women, especially in government, at par? What is the situation there in Nigeria?
Thank you very much. The situation in Nigeria, I would say, is not different from every other African country. It's really obvious because while my other sisters from the Gambia and Liberia were speaking, I could not help but to see how the issues are the same, how the stereotypes are the same, how the culture of patriarchy is enshrined in our culture and all of that. So when it comes to empowerment, we could still see
Did you mind putting on your video
between girls and boys. We could see societies where girls are not even allowed to go to school. We could see where girls are deprived of owning a property. Women cannot own a property. Women cannot inherit their father's property. All of these practices, this patriarchy, contribute to disenfranchising women from empowerment. If a woman does not have equal access to education like the boys do, if she does not have access to property, then she does not have any kind of collateral to access loan and all of that. So it's really about the culture. It's really about the systematic patriarchy that have so long, been ingrained in our culture, in our religion, till today. In many religions, women cannot even lead. Women cannot, worship where the men can, and all of all these things.
We've lost your audio. Bimbola, are you there?
So invest.
We've lost your audio, Bimbola. Are you there?
Responsibility for our empowerment as women. So it's something that we definitely have to take responsibility for, because here in Nigeria, the situation is the same. As a girl child, you have to struggle. You have to ensure that you're empowered by yourself. Nobody's going to drop it on your laps, Even, in Nigeria, we have the north, the south, the west. And in down south, it's still better, Girls are educated, girls are allowed to go to school. Unlike in the north, where at 12 years old, a girl is married off. And you see most of our politicians, getting married to small children because their culture over there allows it. And this northern part of Nigeria, they have consistently refused to pass the child rights law or the gender-based violence prohibition laws, because they know that these laws will not allow them, to continue to perpetrate violence against women. A girl that is married off as 12 years old, how is he going to be empowered? How is she going to go to school? She has been deprived of her childhood. She has been deprived of her teenage period. She has also been deprived of her womanhood. At 12, she's already sexually active to a man that is old enough to be a grandfather. Automatically, she does not have opportunity to go to school. She does not have opportunity to relate with other girls. There are certain things that we all, growth is like you denying her completely that period of growth. So it's the situation is the same, and is really alarming. But yes, we are increasing. We are increasing in terms of awareness. People are getting to know that these things are not acceptable. Or it's one thing for people to know. It's another thing for people to internalize the fact. It's another thing for people to internalize the fact that these practices are harmful, and it is time to abolish these practices. When it comes to gender-based violence, a lot of people will tell you, yes, it is normal for a woman to be treated anyhow because she's a second-class citizen. She has to be made to obey. Growing up as a child, I remember there was a time my dad was telling me that my junior brother is like my father, and I'm like, excuse you? My junior brother is like my father. Excuse me. A lot of us grew up, we were socialized as girls to believe that we are second-class citizens. We were socialized to believe and to accept this injustice. And it's so sad. You realize that a lot of women have come to accept this injustice. They have come to accept this inequality. They have come to accept the fact that they don't have to be empowered. They do not need the education. They do not need the empowerment, because I remember when I wanted to buy my first land, and I told my dad that I like to buy a land. I like to start investing. And my dad was like, excuse you? You are a girl. Why do you want to buy a land? And it took me saying, I've told you many times, don't say that to me. I need a land. Are you willing to help me, or I should seek help elsewhere? So if I were not to be somebody, the kind of a woman that I am, that naturally forms a woman's perspective of what she should dare to have. When I was not married, I wanted to buy my first car. I'm like, no, you cannot buy a car. Nobody will marry you. They will see you as empowered. They will see you as, I'm like, excuse you. To live my life. I'm not going to alternate my life because I'm not married. I'm not going to alternate living because I'm not married. No, I am a woman. I deserve to have everything, a man can have. And I work hard for my money. I work hard for and I have the right to enjoy it. So it is ingrained in this patriarchy, and that's why as feminists we need to begin to dismantle patriarchy, because patriarchy continues to ingrain a culture of depression, a culture of deprivation for women. And I mean, it's just sad that as men, as religious leaders, as cultural leaders, we are not seeing the danger and what we are doing to ourselves. Because when a woman is empowered, the whole family is empowered. Yeah. When a woman is empowered, the society is empowered. It makes life easier for everybody. You know, when a woman is empowered, life is easier for everybody. Only if we can, have a mind shift, if we can unlearn and learn the right principles that both male and female, they are created by God and they are created equally for us to strive and to support one another. If we can move, if we can have a mind shift and move towards gender equality, we'll have a better society. Thank you, and over.
Indeed, I quite agree with you. I mean, there's a general saying and a popular saying: if you empower a woman, you empower a society, and that's quite true. I mean, even in the home front, you see women. I mean, they know how to manage the home very well. You just give them what they need to, and you allow them to do the management. Thank you very much, Bimbola, for that response to our question. Well, now that we've looked at the broken down the theme, which is right, equality, and empowerment, Fatima, let me come to you in the Gambia. How is the fight for equality going in your country? I know you talked about the last year there was a struggle to I think to erase the bill protecting young girls from female genital mutilation and all of that. How is the fight going? At what level are you guys now, especially the civil society activists and the NGOs that are pushing for this, gender equality?
Thank you very much. I'll say we never relent. The fight still continues, and of course, it has been even more than what has been done for the past years, because then now we have a lot of people that are aware, because advocates are advocating and they're building the capacities of people. They're being empowered. That is the empowerment we just talked about. People are being empowered to realize and know about their rights, especially women and girls. And for the fact that a lot of CSOs or NGOs now target young girls and boys in schools, that's really bad. If they are targeted at a very young age, they're able to realize their rights and they will grow up with that. And the moment that happens, then you're not educating older people to struggle for them to understand, because this is something we've been going through. So at this moment, we have different structures that are set up for young people and also for adolescents. For example, we have our Children National Assembly in the Gambia, and these kids, they are trained, they are empowered to know about their rights, to know about national issues, to know about what concerns their fellow children. It's like each of them in that children's parliament is representing a constituency. And then some of them will even go to their communities to do something with their community or in their schools. So to us, if you have one kid that is representing a constituency and trying to reach out to, for example, 10 people in their community, 10 other kids, they're empowering them and they're changing the narratives and they're reducing our work. So we also go to the young people. You have a young national parliamentary parliament for young people. They are also representing their people. They conduct sensitizations for their people. They also conduct hearings, for young people. They also make sure they go to the communities to know the root causes of young people's issues. So when we have the structures in place, we believe it is going to make our work easier, because they're also trying to address the same work with the same issues we're trying to address in the communities we go to. And for the fact that we cannot reach in every community, they are going to be the gatekeepers, or they're going to be the people on the ground to make sure our work is easily facilitated, and they will do their part, because we know if you do community work, you know that most of the time when you go to the community, especially the grassroots, they tend to believe the people they live with, the people they know. Because then if you're a newcomer and you come to them, you want to tell them certain things, they try to raise their eyebrows and feel like, okay, they're here to tell us about foreign things, right? But this is my own person, but this is my own community member telling me not to do this or telling me to work this way. Then it is easier for us to smoothly do our work to educate and also empower these people for them to realize their rights. In those days, Gambian women struggle with, when you talk about the issue of SRHR, they struggle to get access for contraceptives in hospitals, for example, in rural Gambia. But when civil society organizations started going to these communities, to the regions, to talk to them, to sensitize them about these issues, they try to realize that their bodies are their bodies. It is true to work with your partner to get contraceptives, but at the end of the day, you are the one that is going to the hospital to give birth. And then whatever issue happens to you, at the end of the day, you're going to carry the burden if you don't have a man that is very helpful, a partner that is helpful. Even if your partner is helpful, you're going to go through the pain. And you're lucky if you have a helpful partner. But if you don't have a helpful partner, that partner may leave you there and go marry another woman. So when women realize this, most of them took the matter into their own hands and they go to these hospitals to seek for contraceptives, and they have their own strategies. Even if their husbands don't allow them to use contraceptives, they have strategies wherein they don't even take their cats to their house. When their husbands see the cats, because they don't allow them to take contraceptives, they realize that this is the cat for family planning and I don't want you to take family planning. You have an issue. But if you leave the cat at the hospital, the husband might not know that you're taking contraceptives and you're safe, and then you're trying to protect yourself. So I'm just giving this example for people to understand that they are trying to realize their rights, and the advocacy that has been happening for the past years has really paid dividend. But still, even though we have loopholes, especially in the terms of in the side of policy implementation. So this is something we've been trying to work on, especially when we also talk about SGBV, sexual and gender-based violence. This is also a problem that we are faced with. We still struggle to prosecute cases of SGBV in my country. There's a problem. We don't even have a testing lab. For example, when a girl is raped, we don't have machines to determine, what happened. When was he raped? Who raped? We will have to take it to another country to do neighboring countries to do that, which is very unfortunate. We don't even have courts for children. That is something they're trying to work on. That has been something the government said it is on the pipeline. We commend the government for the Ministry of Gender, but to us, their efforts are still lacking because when the ministry came, it's been more than 5 years. But our expectations were higher than we're seeing them delivering. So for us, I feel like the civil society is doing their part, the activists are doing their part. Even sometimes when cases of SGBV happen, sometimes activists will take funds from their personal funds to make sure they settle some of these survivors, to either get accommodation for their cases to be settled, or to make sure they pay for them to get for their cases to proceed in court. Or sometimes we have a female lawyers association who sometimes take up pro bono cases of some of these survivors who may not have the funds to pay for a lawyer. So some of these organizations are trying to fill in the gaps that are still wider, but we feel like the government has to do a lot also to make sure we synchronize each other's efforts to have a balance of achieving what we want to achieve in terms of making sure women's rights are fulfilled. SGBV cases are being prosecuted in this country, and people are not going to give up at the end of the day, because most of the survivors, sometimes when their cases go to court, because of the frustration, some of them will end up leaving their cases unattended, because then they feel like they're playing with our emotions. And then you go sit home re-traumatized.
Yeah.
Sometimes you don't know what it leads to.
All right, Fatima.
Yeah.
Yes. Let me cross over to Vickjune in Liberia. Well, you are fighting for the empowerment of young girls, women, and equal opportunity. What would you say is inspiring you to do this? Can you unmute yourself?
Sorry. Yes, sure. So I come from a very humble beginning. My mom is a single mother, and since I was born, I've not seen my dad. This story of mine has been an inspiration for me to be able to do more for people like me, and then to be able to set, to break barriers for others to follow. In Liberia, literally, 80%, 80% of the youth population kind of struggle for access, equal access to opportunities and the betterment of their lives. So the fact that I feel from my family there is no one who has really gotten quality education, even up to master level, it is more of a motivation to me and inspiring me to do more, yes, for those that are coming after me. I run a young women led organization, and sorry, please let me just hold on. Sorry, guys. Let me just get off the car. Please just hold on. Yes, please. Um, sorry. Oh God, I'm so sorry. So, like I was saying, I'm inspired by those. My story actually motivates me, but I am definitely inspired by those who have laid the foundation for me also. Like, if you look at Liberia, most of all of I don't want to mention Madame Shirley's alone, but I know she served as a beacon of hope for a lot of, African women, especially Liberian young women. So if somebody with that story coming from early child motherhood, like, can rise to that point in life and break barriers and shatter glass ceilings, I feel like my story, though it's motivating, but it's not enough, and it can never stop me from getting to the top. So I'm definitely inspired to do this work because I believe in myself. My story is a motivation, but I also believe that there are several other young people like me who need to break barriers, and the fact that I can do it and other people who have come up before us can do it, they too can also follow too. Yeah.
Indeed. Thank you for your response. Well, back to Nigeria, Bimbola. What is that thing that has been your greatest struggle in favor of women's rights in your country? And I know that your organization is doing a lot in terms of that. Maybe you want to share one or two experiences with us.
Thank you very much. Well, is one of my greatest struggle is sometimes when you're trying to fight for a woman, probably most times in cases of gender-based violence. And before you start the case, you ask the woman, "Are you ready? Are you sure?" Blah blah blah. And she's like, "Oh yes, I'm ready." And when you get to the of it, the woman comes back to say, no, I want to withdraw the case. He's the father of my children. I don't want to be, called names and all of that and all of that. So that's literally, pours cold water on my heart many times, and the fact that when you get to some situations, you suddenly see some religious leaders, coming up, for rape and beg. A man has raped a woman or a minor, and, we are at the process of getting justice. Then you begin to see respectable people in the society coming to intervene, telling you that the person is your person, let's settle out of court and all of that. For me, it really shows that we still have a long way to go. And many times these are stakeholders that we have engaged. These are traditional rulers, these are religious leaders that we have, engaged, that they are he for she, they are advocates, but when the case gets to, where it's hot, you begin to see different reactions from stakeholders who should stick their neck and ensure that justice is served. And even women themselves, in the middle of the case, they come back many times to say, they want to withdraw. So for me, it's really quite challenging and quite frustrating. So for me, those are major struggles for me that I find very difficult to come to terms with, because when we are having the advocacy, we are doing advocacy, and we are, going for radio program. I'm doing community dialogue, intergenerational dialogue. These people speak beautifully well. Sometimes even the police, I've handled series of cases where the police will tell me, their van is not working. I need to provide, transport for them to go and arrest a culprit, and I provide that. Then they come back to say, where we want to charge it to court. You need to come and pay money for. So all these, systems are supposed to be put in place, to make the work that we do easier. When those systems are faulty, when those systems are not in place, and where they are in place, where they are not functional, and when women themselves frustrate the process, or stakeholders, is, for me, it's really a major setback. And I'm also using this opportunity to call out to people, stakeholders, women and girls, and also religious leaders. If we keep going the way we are going, we will not achieve anything. We will keep saying beautiful things on International Women's Day. We keep making beautiful commitments, and we keep reinventing the wheel when we do not make up our mind exactly what we want to do and really do it. Because one case is enough to serve as a deterrent. But if we keep frustrating each and every single case, then it shows that we are not ready.
Well, let me stay with you, Bimbola. Just as we round up this conversation, let me stay with you, please. In Nigeria's political system, we are seeing a very wide underrepresentation of women in governance, in the Senate, in the House of Representatives, at the National Assembly, at the State Assembly, and all of that. Are you concerned with this? And what are the factors that are responsible for this? Is it that women are not eager enough to want to be in power or in governance, or to be at par with the men folks? An example is here in Senegal, the parliament has 50-50. It's 50% for women, 50% for men. Why is that difficult to be replicated in Nigeria?
Thank you very much. Every gender advocate, every feminist is worried and should be worried for women underrepresentation in our political space. So I am worried, as you are worried, as any other activist is worried. And when you look at what is responsible, it's a lot of interconnected factors. The first is that we are all victims of our socialization, right? So women are naturally socialized to believe that politics is not for them. And there is this stereotype for women in politics. When a woman is going into politics, I don't know in other places, but here in Nigeria, a woman going into politics, she's seen as a prostitute, she's seen as a loose woman, she's seen as a woman that is not ready to submit to the authority of a man, she's seen as somebody who does not want to, be a woman, who wants to compete with men. So that socialization naturally makes women to say, no, I don't want to be called a prostitute, I don't want to be seen, because they believe that political meetings happen in the midnight. Women who go into politics are sleeping with one man or the other to be able to emerge and all of that. So there's this stereotype, there's this misconception around women political participation. And where women are politically active, they are more active as clappers and singers.
I was just about to say that.
For the men.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. But women can come out and march to support and do rallies.
Yes, you see them, they believe that is the best participation level that they can. And it's really sad. And I keep encouraging women, all of us will not go into politics, really, but those who have the flair, those who have the interest, they should dare to, get involved, and not just get involved as clappers and singers, but as elected officers, as elected officials. It's very important for women to dare to aspire And also, our political party system is also not so encouraging. When you look at all the political parties in Nigeria, they are all led by men. Recently I had a meeting with women in politics, and I'm doing a project on Mafoto Protocol. Mafoto Protocol is the African instrument that talks on women's human rights, and I'm working on the article that promotes women political participation. And one of the things that the women keep, the women in politics, we had a meeting like 2 or 3 weeks ago. One of the key challenges that they have identified is the political party structure. The political party, they operate on their own. They have a constitution of their own. And for example, Ekiti State, where I am living and working, we have a equal opportunity law. And we also have this law that talks about equal political participation of women. 50-50 or at most 60-40. These laws are not being implemented by the political parties. And they keep saying, I was engaging the Speaker of the State House of Assembly and some members, critical members of the House of Assembly, on this issue of women political participation last month. And the issue that keeps coming back is that the political parties are not mandated to ensure that every candidate that they produce, at least 40% of it must be women. And by the time the election is over, the political parties are the ones that produce the candidates. And by the time election is over, whoever is the governor or the president, we have to score from the little number of women that emerge. You understand? So it still goes back to the political party structure, where we must ensure that political party chairmen are women, or at least vice chairman, not putting them in positions where they are just there. They cannot make any major leadership decisions. So these are the challenges that affect women's political participation. We also talked about their midnight meetings. They say, the midnight meetings is not to disenfranchise women. I remember asking one of the legislature, if your wife is in politics and she wakes up 1 a.m. and say, I'm going for political meeting, would you allow her? He was like, I will know about the meeting. You see, those are the things that inhibit women's political participation. Also, when you look at the nomination fee, yes, it's better now in Nigeria because of our advocacy over the years. Most political parties are now saying nomination funds should be free for women. But really, even that, it sounds nice, but even that is disenfranchising. By the time the woman is talking to the political, she keep quiet. We give you the form free of charge. Keep quiet. Do you have the money? And women politics also is another challenge that affects women's political participation. Our politics is so characterized with money that before you can say you want to be a local government chairman, you need to go and look for like 100 million. You have a lot of money to throw around to bribe the party leaders, to bribe the local government chairman, to bribe do you understand? So it's really an interwoven factor that affects women's political participation. But we need to continue to talk about it. We need to continue to go to schools to encourage girls that forget those stereotypes, forget those things. They are not true. There have been structures that have been put in place. Again, they talk about women not supporting women. They say women don't support each other. They say women don't support men. It's just a lie to keep, deceiving women. Men go as far as assassinating each other. But when it's a woman not supporting a particular, they say, you see, women are their own worst enemy. That's not true. That's the line from the Vickjune.
I think you have about us.
That's a lie. They keep saying women don't support women. Women are their worst enemy. That's not true. That is not true.
Okay.
And again, we keep saying, not because we just want women. We want women who are character and competent. We want women who have what it takes to rule. We're not saying just bring a woman for us because we want to clap. We want to say, yes, she's the agenda. No, we want women who have competence, who have built over the years character and what they need to lead, as women. And that's why my call is always to women. You need to build your capacity. Because most times, most women who have found themselves into political position are not prepared for the role. They are not prepared for the situation. So when they find themselves in a leadership position that they have not prepared for, many times they misbehave. And they now say, you see, the one woman that we have put there as misbehave, what of the hundreds of men that have been misbehaving? What of the hundreds of men that have been embezzling money? What of the hundreds of men that have been stealing public funds? So these issues are really, really enormous. They are a lot, but we can untangle them. We can remove them from the neck of women and just allow women and men to equally participate. Thank you very much.
Indeed, thank you very much. Well,
Thank you so very much. Oh, sorry, am I allowed to come in?
Yes, please.
go ahead, Vic.
In Nigeria,
Yeah.
I think it is the same thing in Nigeria. There's no mandatory policy that, where men, political parties are accountable for them. So, field women candidates and even support them. There was a time, like 2 years ago, we had a debate where I was recommending that political parties just get rid of the entire women wing. Because in the political party, if they say women wing, it's just for the women to go and cook and cheerlead and clap and do a whole lot, but not to be seated at the decision-making table. So I think the problem in, like, women face in Africa, especially with politics, is kind of the same. Imagine in Nigeria, she's thinking as though she has been in Nigeria because it's the same thing. Yeah, so I think we just need to unpack everything and see where we can learn and unlearn and put in policies in place that are very genuine and where, like, the policies kind of fail after accountable for their actions. Yeah, I think it's one of the way forward.
All right. Well, staying with you, Vickjune, your last thought on this. What are you expecting in this year, 2025? Looking at the theme for International Women's Day, what are the changes are you really want to see by the time you're doing a review of how this year has been, taking stock of how women have been treated so far, especially in Liberia? What are your expectations?
Well, my expectations are very high because this year is 30th anniversary of Vickjune, the Vickjune Declaration and Platform for Action. Even in the United Nations, in New York, they're going to be reviewing the different progress, across the entire globe and see where the challenges are, and then we'll be able to learn from them. So I hold the same view that we should be able to review the existing policies we have and see how best we can, revise them that is suit the existing realities. Like, what is happening now? What is affecting her? Yes. So there are different things. Currently, I have a consultancy with the work sector in Liberia, and I see that women are not really prioritized in that area. In water and sanitation plays a major role when it comes to health and sanitation. So if we are going to review all of those existing policies and see how far we this and what could be future challenges, we'll be able to track them, review them, and find sustainable solutions. Like, if we're talking about women political participation, we should be able to state that any political party that would register for election, maybe like in Liberia 2029, you should come with 50% or 40% women candidates from, let's get representative positions or senator position. You should be able to ensure that women are 40 or 50% represented on your party ticket, or else you will not be able to register as a candidate to contest. But if these policies are very clear and their accountability is seen, you will see that people will be able to align with them because there's not accountability structure, so people just do what they want to do. It's basically the nice fishes. Yeah, they normally go to the event and get nice fishes. Sometimes they sign up to these declarations and don't implement them because the accountability action is not really, really visible. So I'm very hopeful. I'm expecting that we'll review existing policies, especially the gender blind ones. Like in Liberia, we have maternity leave. I expect that we should have parental leave because the woman did not impregnate herself. So why is he taking 3 to 4 months off work and the man is also not taking even 1 month off? You and the policy so that we find a sustainable solution to them. Yeah.
Indeed. Well, thank you very much, Vickjune. Well, let's round off with Fatima in the Gambia. What are you looking forward to in this year's International Women's Day? What are your expectations and how would you want women to be treated this year, 2025, in the Gambia?
Thank you. Well, I look forward to a lot of reflection on what has happened during past years to see the loopholes and where efforts need to be added to make sure policies in terms of women empowerment, also in terms of women attaining their sexually productive health rights fully, also in terms of women seeing them fully participate in all aspects of nation building, political, socially, economically, because know it or not, in all these sectors, women are taking part. And this is not just women that are working in the formal sectors, but also women that are working in the informal sector. Even the food, even vendors take part, and they contribute fully to the economic growth of a country. So this is something people have to realize and make sure all women are treated equally, all women realize their rights. And also we look forward to policies that are also going to make them feel empowered, but also not just policies, but a smooth working relationship with the government and civil society to continue to make sure some of the loopholes that we've been struggling with or trying to address are addressed. So then we will be able to have women fully participate, especially in terms of leadership and politics. This is something that I am so passionate about, because we cannot have a country progress and develop while they're leaving their women behind. And having a country that is less than 3 million, a population of less than 3 million, having just few of their women representatives. Well, I am glad to say that in terms of education in the sector, we have a lot of women and girls that are, going to school, at all levels of our schools. But then when it comes to seeking jobs, there's also a problem. Sometimes, especially in higher positions, women do struggle to get these positions. But also in terms of women realizing their potentials and being empowered, there's something we are struggling with. I look forward to seeing courts of SGBB courts being established. This is something our government has been talking about for the past years, but it is still not in place according to based on what I know. It is still not in place. These are things we look forward to. We have a gender policy which was just last year, which came in place just last year. We look forward to the full implementation of this gender policy. And I'm sure if this national gender policy is being implemented, most of these loopholes are going to be addressed. So that is a bigger part of what I look forward to. But also continuous works and effort and in making the public realize that women's rights and human rights, and of course people's rights should be respected. And women also do have the equal right as men participate in all aspects of development for us to be able to forge ahead and also develop as a country. Because there is no country that can develop without its women by their side.
Indeed. Fatima Jarju, women's rights activist in the Gambia, has been our guest. Thank you so much for joining us on this program. We've also had Vickjune Wutoh, and she's the founder initiative for youth empowerment and economic development in Liberia. And also we had Bimbola Aladejare-Salako, the executive director of the New Generation Girls and Women Development Initiative based in Nigeria. Women, thank you so much for your time and for gracing this occasion of International Women's Day.
Thank you so much.
We celebrate all of you.
You're amazing people. I hope we catch up again another time.
All right. We celebrate all of you and we wish you a happy International Women's Day. Thank you so much and bye-bye.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye. Thank you for inviting me.
You're welcome.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, ladies.
Okay, so that's much we can take on this special edition of Citizens Hour in commemoration of International Women's Day. Thank you all for joining us online on WADR.org, on YouTube at WADR News, and on radio on 94.9 FM Dakar. And many thanks for our partner radios across the sub-region for being a part of this program. So we'll come your way next time. I am Emediong. Bye for now.